Hello, my name is David, ASE Certified Master Tech and Car Enthusiast, and in this video we're going to be giving you tips for long-term storage of a vehicle. So I have first-hand experience. When I was deployed to Afghanistan, when I was serving active duty in the military, in the Army, I had to store 2 vehicles. And the good thing is I had a friend to help me out. So that is the first thing I'll say is if you could get a family member or a friend to help you out, that would be the best thing. We'll be talking about in this video about both ways, if you have somebody to help you out or if you're storing a car by yourself for long term. So the first thing you want to do is you want to make sure that your tires are inflated to the correct specification. You could always open your door and check the little label on the side of your door and it'll tell you the manufacturer's specifications for your tires. Now, once you have those inflated correctly, you're going to want to go ahead and lift up the vehicle. Now, there is a certain thing you want to know about lifting up the vehicle, and that's using the outermost jacking points. And the reason why is if you jack up the vehicle any other way, the suspension is going to droop. And if you leave the suspension like that for a long duration of time, it could hurt it. So you want to make sure that you jack up the vehicle in the outermost jacking points. Once you do that, your tires and your wheels and everything will be off of the ground and you will prevent those flat spots. Another thing you could do is you could use car dollies. Now we have car dollies on our Honda S800, and what that does is it's shaped the correct way to prevent some flat spots. So it's gonna help out a lot. Not only that, it allows you to move the vehicle around easier if you're storing it in a tight place. Now let's talk about gas. It could be a controversial thing, but everybody has agreed that filling up your gas tank to the full amount is the way to do it. And the reason why is that you prevent any space in the gas tank for any condensation or moisture. Now you have to remember that condensation and moisture is bad, not only for the fuel, but for components for the fuel system. So you could possibly start to rust or corrode certain things over time. So you want to prevent any moisture, and that is key. Another thing you want to do is if you're going to leave the vehicle for a long time, you want to go ahead and add some fuel stabilizer. When you do that, it's going to have some, chemistry action that goes with the mixture of the fuel and the stabilizer, and it's going to help the fuel last longer. It's going to prevent the fuel from going bad, and it's just a good rule of thumb whenever you're storing a vehicle for a long time. If you have any questions about a brand or what to use, just go to your local auto store, and when you see the shelves, you'll see all kinds of fuel stabilizers, and somebody there can help you out and let you know what's the best brand. But there's a lot of good brands out there and there's a lot of products available to you. Since we're in the topic of liquids or fuel or everything, we're going to talk about fuel and oil and the car itself. Now, if you have a friend or a family member who's out there taking care of your car or driving it, ask them to make sure that they drive it until all the temperatures are up to operating temperatures. And essentially, you want to just go for a good drive. You want to make sure that the coolant gets to the right temperature, the oil gets to the right temperature, and everything's being utilized correctly. And the reason why is that if you do short trips, that is not good for the oil, that's not good for the car. You need to really get it warmed up. Now, when it comes to driving a car and using gas, tell your friend to try to use the same gas station and to use the same fuel and the fuel type. But if you use the same gas station and the same fuel and the same type of octane, that's one less factor you have to worry about. And you're just making sure that you have the same type of fuel in the gas tank because it's going to be sitting there, but make sure he tops it off. So one of the biggest things you're going to have to worry about is the battery, because there's a lot of factors. What type of battery you have? What area or location or facility are you going to be storing your vehicle? Are you going to have access to a power so you could hook up a battery maintainer or trickle charger? All those things are going to be a big factor in consideration when trying to maintain your battery for long-term storage. Now, let's go ahead and assume a couple of scenarios. If you have power, then go ahead and pick yourself up, a good battery maintainer or trickle charger. Hook it up correctly, follow the manuals, follow all the safety procedures, get it all hooked in. And believe it or not, you're going to be really good because these things do a great job. But a lot of storage units don't give you that access or that opportunity to do that. They don't want you to, plug into their system because that costs money. So if you're in that situation, you're going to run into an issue. Now, when I was looking out for my friends' cars when they were deployed, I ran into dead batteries all the time. It was like a main issue. We'd have to jump them, start them, and that could be a big ordeal because you have to push cars out of the storage unit, and depending if they were driven in or driven back, it's a big deal. And a lot of these newer cars won't even move without you being able to start them. So you might even have to daisy chain, some battery cables because you might not even be able to reach if the car was, driven in. So there's a lot of things you have to factor in about the battery. Now, if you guys are going to be storing your car and you're in a place where you don't have access to a power, you don't have anyone who's going to be driving your car, you might as well disconnect the negative battery terminal and know when you come back that you're going to have a battery issue. So the best thing to do is you probably want to, drive it in first where the engine bay is sticking out. So if you need to jump the battery or if you need to replace the battery, you could open up the storage unit and do it without having, to move the vehicle out or push it out. Also, you also want to know that you're going to probably have to replace that battery over time. But if you set yourself up for success and know that you're going to have to address that, you're not going to have a big issue because you're going to be prepared for that. But just know that your battery is going to be the biggest ordeal when it comes to storing a car. Again, if you have access to power, a battery trickle charger is fine. If you have access to a power and your friend's going to be driving it, just make sure they disconnect it when they go drive it. But besides that, you're also going to be good. If you don't have access to power and your friend's going to go charge it, you're going to have to take something into consideration, and that's going to be the environment. When it gets colder, batteries suffer. It's just, the chemistry and the engineering behind them. So you're going to have to know that they could probably run into a dead battery in the colder months. So again, you want to plan for that depending on how you park in a storage unit. So I hope you guys took all that in consideration when it comes to a battery. Know your situation, set yourself up for success, and you'll be good. Okay, so the next topic is a fun one for me because I'm a nerd, but we're going to be talking about security, and that's making sure that your car is secure when you leave it in long-term storage, either being in your home or either being in a storage unit. But most likely, if it's in a public storage unit, you're going to take extra security measures to make sure that it's okay. So the first thing you want to do is you're going to want to have a family member or a friend have an extra set of keys to your car. You want to make sure they have it. Even though if they're not taking care of it, you want to make sure that they have it. Because if something happens, if for some reason you're away and you want to get the car out of there, or you don't want to deal with that business, because sometimes if you're dealing with the business and things go sour, you want to be able to have that opportunity to get your car out of there, get a friend or a family member, get your car out of there, move it to a different location. So make sure somebody has your keys, the security fob and everything when you're away. Also, don't leave any important information in your car. Oh my gosh, it's crazy. Some people leave their titles, very personal data in there, their radio codes, extra key fobs, valet keys, all that stuff. Social security cards, ex-girlfriend's phone numbers, boyfriend's phone numbers, whatever. Don't leave anything in your car that somebody could use against you if they break into it. It's not a smart move. So make sure that you go through your car, take everything with you that you want to make sure in case it gets broken into, you don't want it out in the world. Also, when you leave your car, you're going to want to make sure you lock it. Now, might have some trouble with that if you're going to have, your battery tender all hooked up and stuff like that, but you could figure out how you could close the hood still without actually pinching or trapping that the battery tender cables or wires in there. You will figure it out, but essentially you just want to make sure you lock your car. You want to make sure, I like to move the steering wheel so it locks in there as well, and I want to make sure that I check it, close it. I want to make sure that I have the correct locks for the storage unit, and that's pretty much the extra security measures. Now for me, I'm a little crazy. I put like anti-theft devices, which sometimes people say they work or not, but if it even stops somebody for 20 seconds, it's a great idea. But I even go and take out like a fuse, but if you guys aren't, I'm a master tech, so I could go in there and do some magic, but whatever steps you could take, do it. If not, you should be fine by just locking the car and making sure somebody else has the keys and making sure you don't leave anything valuable or any of your personal information inside it. All right, we're gonna be giving you some extra advice and tips. I did some research because I want to make sure that you guys got the best video I could deliver, and these are quite important. Now, first off, I love all animals. I even like little mices, they're cute. But unfortunately, if you're leaving a car for long-term storage, it makes a great little home for all types of animals and insects. So you want to make sure that wherever you're leaving your car, that that they're not having any issues with that. There's not any evidence of that. Some people even go buy some extra mouse traps. But one of the best things you could do is just make sure that you don't have any food wrappers or anything in your car. You don't want to entice the little guys to go in there, make a home, find food. So make sure that you don't have any food in your car at all. Another thing that I read, which was pretty cool, was that if you're storing your car, like let's say in a barn or something like that, you want to lay down a tarp wherever you're going to park your car. And what that does, it acts like a barrier. And now, if you guys know how homes are built, a lot of homes have what they call a vapor barrier underneath your house. And what that does is it prevents vapors and things from coming up to your house. And it's usually a really thick plastic, tarp looking thing, plastic thing. And so what I was reading was that if you lay one down underneath your car, you're going to prevent, the ground from exposing that moisture up to your car, which could lead to rust or other issues. So it's a great piece of advice or an extra tip. All right, guys, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any additional questions about storing your car, let me know and I'll do my best to help. If you want to learn how to test your battery when you're leaving or when you're coming back, we have videos how to show you how to use a multimeter, which I think everyone should know how to use. Make sure to check those out. We'll put those at the end. Again, we appreciate it. Press the like button if you found the information helpful. Subscribing is the best thing you could give us. We appreciate it. You guys take care, stay safe, and whatever journey you're going out there, we hope you have fun, and we'll talk to you soon.